Boston Celtics advancing to their 22nd NBA Finals as a franchise. They take this one in another 7-game epic. So for the C's, the road to this moment was a 4-game sweep of KD and company, a 7-game series against the defending champs in the Bucks, and now 7 more against the Miami Heat, which will earn them a trip to the Bay to meet with the current dynasty in the Golden State Warriors. It'll be Boston and Golden State for the whole thing. All right, let's dig into it with the coach. Coach, plenty to unpack here coming out of Game 7. All said and done, it will be the Boston Celtics representing the East as they are your Eastern Conference champions here in what became a thriller down the stretch. Before we dig into the nuts and bolts, your general reaction is what?
Well, my general reaction is congratulations to Ime Udoka. First-year coach. He's been an assistant with the Spurs, with the 76ers, with the Nets. This guy's really put in the work, and to see him in his first year, now he's going to be coaching the NBA Finals. So proud of him. Also, guys like Marcus Smart, who just showed extreme amount of leadership, toughness. Here's a guy that missed Game 1, if you remember. Came back Game 2, had an incredible game, not only defensively as the reigning now Defensive Player of the Year, but offensively. He got it going tonight offensively, which Jayson Tatum and Brown needed some help on the offensive end. Al Horford, veteran player, now he's going to the NBA Finals. So again, man, this total team effort, extraordinary defense. Sure, they were getting close to relinquishing that lead that they built up, but they got off to a good start in the first quarter, really set the tone for the entire game, did a nice job on the others not named Jimmy Butler with Miami. So lots of kudos to go around to the Boston Celtics tonight.
Coach Ime Udoka becomes the first rookie head coach in NBA history to win multiple Game 7s in a single postseason. So really lifting his team up in these winning moments. And, Coach, we talk about winning moments. There was one right out in front of the Miami Heat with the shot clock turned off. I want you to take us through this possession. Jimmy Butler dribbling the ball up the court, pulls a long three. Would you have liked to seen a different look here in this moment? 17 ticks still left on the clock. A contested three with Al Horford closing out. Jimmy's taken this shot throughout the series and throughout the year, but in transition, is this the look you want down 2, Coach?
No, not necessarily. I'm sure Jimmy, as he evaluates it, in the offseason, plenty of time. You can actually go to the basket right now, especially against Al Horford. You can do a little hesitation here, shot fake, and now get downhill, get an easy 2 because Horford's not going to want to foul you. Or if he fouls you, you can try to get an old-fashioned 3-point play at the basket. There is nobody between the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean because the Atlantic Ocean is where Miami is and the Pacific Ocean is where we're all going with the Golden State Warriors. Nobody was there that could have slowed down Jimmy Butler in that situation. So I'm sure if he had it all over to do again, we saw some of the commentators with the other network debating on whether that was a good shot or a bad shot. I think that was a little bit of a bad shot in that situation. Drive the ball to the basket and see if you can make something happen.
Yeah, maybe a bad shot, but Jimmy Butler did play all 48 minutes here, probably trying to get one ahead of him rather than be tied with a potential overtime situation with tanks running on empty in Miami and in Boston. Both of these teams leaving it all out there here in Game 7, Coach. When we stack it all up here, we talked about it pregame. The Celtics now 6-0 straight up and against the number following a loss. It really fell in line with what you told us pregame, how good this team is at refocusing. Can you take us through what you saw here in Game 7, just how hungry they were right out of the gate taking that 15-point lead in the first quarter?
Yeah, they were hungry, and those guys were moving the ball early on. And then they gave Miami a little bit of taste of their medicine. Miami didn't take care of the ball early in the game. Miami didn't create any really good shots. They had too many missed assignments defensively. And then give Boston credit. They did a good job of getting Miami's bad defenders involved in plays. They didn't really try to attack Jimmy Butler on defense. But also in this game, the Miami Heat had some critical mistakes by an NBA champion, Kyle Lowry. His second foul in the first quarter was an awful foul. And then when he called the timeout midway in the fourth quarter, where he could have passed the ball easily when he was losing his balance to one of his teammates, really minimized Eric Spoelstra's ability to call more timeouts there at the end when he really needed one. So Kyle Lowry, NBA champion, didn't have his best night in Game 7, played much better in Game 6, 18 points, 10 assists, but came up short in the biggest game of the season for the Miami Heat.
I do want to talk about some of these individual performances. Al Horford has been so massive for these Celtics throughout the playoffs. 140 playoff appearances, never been to an NBA Finals. Now that changes, Coach. What does that mean, not just to Al Horford, but what has Al Horford meant to this team?
Well, he means the same thing that Chris Paul has meant to the Phoenix Suns, with Chris Paul going to the NBA Finals last year in his first appearance. But just that experience, the toughness. You remember that monster dunk he had against Giannis in the Eastern Conference semifinals? And really, he was talking about, I didn't like the way Giannis was talking to me. How did that created a high level of morale, confidence for his team? You know, a lot of times you can show things on the board as a veteran player in terms of telestration. There's nothing like demonstration. And Al Horford has demonstrated a high level of integrity, character, confidence. Obviously, we know he's competent in the way he communicates on the floor. Man, Al Horford, they say what you see is what you get. You're getting a guy that's a terrific veteran player, and he just means so much, not only to the Boston Celtics, but so many fans that look up to him in terms of his leadership.
And we will finally get to see him on the game's greatest stage at the NBA Finals. Coach is going to be there to break it all down. We do have to talk about our Eastern Conference Finals MVP. That goes to Jayson Tatum. The supporting cast was great. Horford, Smart, Brown, all of them. But Tatum, obviously, the straw that stirs the drink for Boston. It's been simply fantastic here in the Eastern Conference Finals, Coach. What can you say about his performance here in Game 7 and throughout these playoffs? Because when Boston's looking for somebody, they look to him.
And you remember late there, a couple of minutes to go, it's 2.8 seconds to go, underneath out of bounds situation. And, you know, I was sitting there, my wife and I were talking, and I said, honey, this ball's going directly to Jayson Tatum, went into Jayson, fake out Jimmy Butler, one dribble, step back, basket. 9-1-1, came through for his team. He made a prior three-point shot, step back. So his last 5 points were basically nails in the coffin. And he's been doing that all year. This kid has matured. He's learned how to matriculate through all these different defenses that's thrown at him night in and night out. Man, tip your hat to him. He had a couple of unfortunate turnovers with a couple of charges. That's not going to work against the Golden State Warriors, because they're going to be going up against a really prolific offensive team, not a handicap offensive team like the Miami Heat. So give Jayson Tatum credit, and not only just his offense, but his defense, especially against a guy like Tyler Hero, who Miami Heat just couldn't get going tonight.
I do want to get to that finals matchup here in a moment, Coach, but first, we do have to talk about a what-if moment. I don't want to take anything away from the Boston Celtics, but this is likely going to be something that's talked about in the days to come here. Third quarter, Max Strus pours in a three. They review it a couple possessions later, and it comes off the board. Butterfly effect, this game could look far different if this is not taken off the board, or, I mean, you add 3 to the 96 and it's a 1-point game. It's not easy to do, and it's a rabbit hole that maybe we do not want to go down. But it sort of had our jaws on the floor here, and we never got a look of it that really made Strus look out of bounds. How big of a factor was that, do you think, in the way that this game played out?
Well, it was a big factor because you remember, Joe, our 1999 NBA championship with the San Antonio Spurs, we had a shot called the Memorial Day Miracle where Sean Elliott's feet were right there on the sideline and had it. He touched that sideline with Rasheed Wallace running at him. It could be a different story. So in this situation, man, this was a close one. But again, the game didn't come down to this shot. You would feel even worse if this shot was maybe something in the last 5 or 6 seconds of the game and they called it off. But the Miami Heat made so many mistakes in tonight's game. They just didn't get enough help for Jimmy Butler. So though, yes, they could have used these 3 points, that wasn't a deciding factor in the game.
Yeah, it will forever be a what-if moment, and one I'm sure Miami fans will highlight. As you take a look here, Eric Spoelstra in the conference finals served his first loss in a conference finals here in a 7-game epic against the Celtics.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.